But the other thing we did is, instead of coming there and saying, well, what do you need to the village? We do that, of course, but we'd say, before we can help you, you have to develop a master plan for your village.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we introduced this idea, and the reason we did, well, a lot of reasons, but in my Peace Corps experience, I learned that many rural people, to them, the future is just something that happens to them. They have no sense of having any power over the future.
Right.
Other than in Brazil, you can plan for carnival. Carnival. Other than that, the future just happens to you. So where's your agency? And so we said to ourselves, if you learn to do a master plan, you are taking charge of your future. And I kind of lived in both of them. And with them, we did low-income housing. And we did a home for the elderly that won all kinds of awards. And because the elderly in Alberta all came from small towns, we designed a really large building to look like
small
town architecture. And so we, working with Jack Long Associates, we designed a building that didn't look big from any angle, but was really covered a lot of ground with a lot of interior courtyards and light wells and things. And for example, I designed it so if your room looked into this courtyard, there was a large window seat, and the ground in the courtyard was lifted up so that you could sit in your window and have a little garden.
Okay. Yeah. Understand.
And we divide each of the wings as if it were a neighborhood. And so you live in this neighborhood, but everybody can come there. So one wing had the laundry, another wing had the barbershop, another wing, and each of the laundry barbershop areas had a half greenhouse on it. So you could sit among tropical plants and look out into the winter. And so everybody there had the right to come to your neighborhood, but it was your neighborhood.
Okay.
And I could go on about that kind of thing, but we had all of these, all based on respect for the person who lives there and the context of their life and where they came from, and how important it is to maintain, not shock them in this very difficult time in their life by shoving them in a totally new environment.
So again, the word respect comes in. I mean, as the part that's stitching it together, it's really, really uplifting for me listening to that, because that word is so not understood in all of its nuances that I wish more people would talk about that, and that, the seminal point of every relationship should be respect.
I want to say one last thing though about finishing up the education part, because I think it's very important. And you just brought it up, Abhay, and that's that at least architecture as it was taught when I was in school and still is in many places, is the opposite of respect. In other words, you're taught that you are the master and you know best, and you're the disciple of the master until you become the master, and then you know what's best for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's the antithesis of respect. So what we did is, by reaching out to all these separate villages that weren't in touch, we found a village that had a lifelong generation's experience growing apples with these ancient trees. And so we took these villagers to meet those villagers. Now we set up community nurseries in all the other villages so that they could plant their own orchards.
That's amazing.
So much of the knowledge transfer was not technical knowledge. It was process knowledge. In other words, we use their ancient knowledge and just help reintroduce it to them.